Hello, my name is Chris Whitson. I'm one of the co-founders of Farm to You and Bombita Farms, which developed the Farm to You program. By the end of this video, you'll be able to figure out whether or not the Farm to You program is for you, whether it can help your store, and whether you're ready right now to even have the conversation with us. It's a lot different than anything else we've seen out there. A lot of the things that we do and that we tested in our stores, we don't see other grocery stores doing it at all. And a lot of them are super simple. So hopefully by the end of this, you have an idea of whether or not to proceed and start talking to us, or if there's more you need to do, or it's possible it may never be something for you. This video is not a pitch, it's a filter to educate you. It's kind of like a video version of an FAQ to answer the most basic questions that most grocery store owners are going to have to decide whether or not they even want to fill out the form and talk to us. Some people should not move forward, and that is 100% intentional. First off, again, my name is Chris. I am not a consultant, a salesperson, a guru. I'm a retailer like you. I'm a 7th generation retailer. I generated nearly $400 million in fresh food sales before I was 30. I've run stores, I've opened them, I've closed them, I've had to lay off staff, success, failures. Having been in retail all my life, I understand that. So in a way, I am you. We did not start out from the beginning to make a course or a program or something to resell. We were trying to solve a farmer problem, not a grocery problem. When I explain a lot of the things in this video, know that it comes from a place of looking at it through the lens of a retailer and looking at the logistics and all the systems. I know the pains you go through. I know how low the margins can be. I know what the competitive landscape looks like. And trust me when I say the things that we learned doing this on our own shocked me, even with my retail experience. So there's a lot of things that you're going to learn that you probably didn't know about the potential that your grocery stores have. Everything that you're going to hear has been tested. These aren't ideas. These aren't, pie in the sky thinking or blue sky. It's not something we just woke up and said, hey, let's see if we can get other stores to do this. We've spent $2.5 million in the past several years testing this and proving it live with real customers in a real store, multiple actually, real vendors, real farmers, real customers, real money. It is all real. That $2.5 million literally left our pockets building something totally different because we wanted to push the outer limits of what we thought a grocery store could be. And like I said, to support farmers, but then what we learned shocked us so much and taught us so much that we think it applies to independent grocery stores all over the country. This isn't a theory. It's not just a whiteboard where we're spitballing and we want to help you figure it out with us. We figured it out and we've built a system around it to make it easy to implement in your stores without as much disruption as possible. We know the problems that you're facing. This race to the bottom on prices, it's unwinnable for you. You cannot beat the big grocery stores, the Walmarts and such, trying to beat them on price. You will lose every time. So why fight a battle you can't win? We created our own rules. We basically made our own world, and we found out that customers love it and farmers love it. And it can fit in a regular grocery store environment. And you don't have to change your point of sale. You don't have to hire different types of teams of people. We run our stores with a regular sales staff, and they're not, college educated MBAs. They're regular people making $12 to $15 an hour. I think we're up to 16 now actually in our stores. We know about the margin pressure and we found out a way to fix it. So margins go up, sales go up, customer happiness goes through the roof. Some of the things we do are so simple, but they're the number one thing that customers gravitate towards. And we can't believe we don't see any grocery stores doing this one thing, which if you fill out the form below, you will get to see what that is. You don't need more discounts. You don't need cheaper prices. What you need is customer value. Now, you hear those words a lot in articles and from consultants, and usually when they say customer value, they're talking about the big guy grocery stores that are talking about price. And let me tell you, price is lower than you think it is on most customers' radar. And so we're going to allow your grocery stores to differentiate themselves and let everyone else fight about price while you are going after the bigger margins and the happier customers that will love to hand you money. Farm to You was what we called our grocery stores when we started them. Like I said, this wasn't a course or something. We did not design to innovate retail. We were trying to innovate how to connect customers with farmers, because we started a farm ourselves, and it was farmers markets and setting up at events and things like that, and it sucked. And then we found all these other farmers that said they thought it sucked too. They never knew how much money they were going to make. And so we're like, okay, well, we have this multi-generational retail background, and I have a food service distribution background in logistics, having run at what was at the time one of the largest privately owned food service companies in the United States. So I knew how to take something to scale with food across multiple states, and I grew up doing retail, and so I knew how to talk to customers. I knew how to ask them questions to figure out what they like, what they don't. And so when we built our Farm to You stores, we were trying to design something that connected consumers with farm food locally. And so we did a lot of very extreme things to push the boundaries of that. And our Farm to You stores are what we ended up with. And then when we made some very drastic changes later on to deal with seasonality and customer perception, to make sure we weren't sending them other places to spend their money. Because at the time when we first started, our stores were 100% local. We didn't get anything from more than a couple hundred miles away. We built our own distribution network of, at the peak, it was 117 local farmers and food producers. But what happens with that, when you have that different kind of system, you're lacking the things that aren't available locally. So we would have spaghetti sauce made by a local woman in a town to the south of Albuquerque and made from local tomatoes, and it's an award-winning sauce. She's won the same award like 4 times with it. But there was no pasta. No one's making local pasta. So we were literally sending them outside the door to go. They would buy spaghetti sauce, and then we were literally sending them away to go spend money somewhere else. So we located farmers in North Dakota that were taking their wheat from their wheat farms, these 3 women that owned wheat farms, and they started making pasta from their wheat in the United States. So we started carrying things from outside our local area to make a more full shopping experience for the customer. And so that's how Farm to You started. And we did some things to push those boundaries that created recurring revenue, made customers really want to spend money with us, willing to ride the ride of inventory if something's not locally available. And that love for our store, it transcends race, age, income. We have SNAP recipients and WIC, so it's all over the place. So while I know you're probably sitting there and thinking, oh, you're trying to turn us into a Whole Foods or a bougie store for rich people, that is not it. It's not even close. Way off. Trust me, it is not there. We can't define a specific customer. And so with you having an existing store with lots of foot traffic already, applying what we know to what you already do and figuring out a way to merge the gray area, you will do it at a much better way than we could, because we started from scratch and had to re-educate people, en masse, and losing a lot of money while doing it. And so we've eliminated the losing money and the guessing part for you, so that going in, we've already tested this. And all it takes is us integrating what we do with what you already do and improving your store, not really changing it, and then changing the way that your customers hear your value that has nothing to do with price. You get to stop competing on price forever. So here's our core offer. This is what you're looking at. Our Farm to You certification program is basically, it's kind of like if you join like an IGA or something, you get their branding, you're in their co-op, and you get their buying and pricing. This is kind of like that. You don't have to lose your IGA. You're allowed to make your own decisions for your store. We're trying to tag your store with Farm to You as a brand, as a certification, so that customers know when they see Farm to You, like on your building or in your marketing, on flyers, wherever it is that you want to use it, they know what that means because we've taught them, and it's an identity of your store. And so, like, we call our online course that you get as part of your assessment that shows our whole playbook, we call it the Grocery Lift program, and that's L.I.F.T, for local identity fuels trust. And that's what we're building with your customers, is trust. Because the one thing the big grocery stores cannot do to most of the customers out there is buy trust from them. All they can do is price and convenience. That's all they have. You're not going after those customers anymore. You're going after the people that want trust, and we will show you exactly how to do that. So Farm to You, yes, and you're not just buying, putting, a little sign or a banner on the front of your store. We provide systems. We show you how to train. We teach your people how to talk to customers, but we also help them teach others, so we don't have to do it as a group. We change the culture of your store from a transaction, which if you're competing on price, you're a transactional business. You're a commodity. No one is shopping with you because they love you. They're shopping with you because of the prices. And so we change all of that. And we build recurring revenue. We provide you the systems. We customize those systems to work better for your store. If you have a point of sale system that has integration capabilities, we will integrate with them so that you don't have to change the other things you do. This adds on. This is a bonus you stick inside your store, and the way you talk to customers and the way you present products on the shelf and the way you market and the way you talk and the way you act changes. But you don't have to change your floor layout, planograms, what point of sale you use, your merchant, nothing like that. You don't have to make those drastic system changes. We're changing mostly people on your staff side and people on your customer side. We're retraining everybody, getting them to think of your store in a different way. And then we provide back-end systems that help you manage all that. We can show you how to have farmers coming to you so that you don't have to go find them. And your local supply of fresh produce and locally made products that's going to vary depending on what state or city you're in based on your health codes. Some will be different than others. But in New Mexico, where we are, produce is like the easiest thing to get away with because it requires no permitting or special permits or treatment. There's a lot of exemptions around that in our state, and a lot of states are like that. And right now, there's a lot of stuff going on in legislatures where people are trying to make local food more accessible. It's not just happening here, it's happening everywhere because of that lack of trust. COVID brought that out. The recent tariffs brought that out. So that conversation is happening now. And if your store is designed and in a position to take advantage of what we do and what we teach, this is the perfect and the best time to do it. You're going to get stickier customers, more revenue, and higher margin. And you're going to get that local food walking through your front door without you having to do anything to go find them, source them, and bring them on. We figured out how to do all of that and make it grow organically. Word of mouth is going to be very, very strong for you. Earned media is going to be very, very strong for you. This is your differentiation moment, where you decide whether you're going to be the store in your market, in your neighborhood or city, that you're going to be different than all the other stores, and people are going to flock to you because of it. You get to stop fighting Walmart and the other stores on price. They can put Neighborhood Market on as many stores as they want, but consumers know it's just a smaller Walmart. It's not a real Neighborhood Market. Putting the Farm to You certification and branding on your store and becoming a Farm to You outlet signals that you are the Neighborhood Market, and you will be the only one, because we only let one store in an area use that. So your competitor around the corner or down the street, or even in some cases across town, depending on how big your city is, won't be able to touch it, and you will be the one making the benefit of what we spent $2.5 million and several years figuring out. Because what's going to happen in your city or town is that people are going to know that that sign on the front of the building that says farm to you, it matters and it means something. Okay, this is the FAQ section part of the video. Obviously, I already know the whole time what you've been thinking. The first question is cost. So generally, the cost is going to vary based on your business. Obviously, some places have one store, some have several. Some of them have them very close to each other. Sometimes they're spread out over a wide geographic area. And as part of our initial assessment, we figure out what it's going to take for us to implement Farm to You at your stores. Because some of you may want to do one at a time. Some of you may just be like, let's do all locations at once, which is what we actually recommend. Marketing and positioning is just much easier that way. And so, but you get to decide. And so as part of our initial assessment, that's what we figure out. We look at your team, your people, your training, the systems and your tech stack that you have in place. We look at your market, your competition, your customer profiles, your numbers, and we want to see where your store is at now, how it operates, and then look at our program and see, okay, what does it take on our end to lift up this grocery store? And so that's going to be our initial assessment. Now, the average range for most stores is $35,000 to $65,000 per location. And that's going to be, if we're doing multiple locations that are really close to each other, like you have 3 locations in one city, your price per store is going to be a lot lower because it's going to be easy for us to travel between stores and hit all of them when we are in town visiting and deploying things and training people. So that's why there's like a $30,000 range there, is it really depends on what your company is and how it runs and what you have in place. So we are custom designing each solution for each grocer. Our goal is to kind of put you in that like 1% range of annual sales per store. That way, our price is affordable enough so that you're only spending 1 year's of your typical margins on your profit before you get to see an ROI. So we want it to start paying itself back really quickly. And so we kind of try to stay in those guidelines. That way, we're not treating it like a major store overhaul where you got to go, spend multiple years of profits just to hope to like get back to even and refresh and rebrand your store. We don't want you to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars per store. We're also not going to nickel and dime you. The price that we give you is going to be it. That is going to be the launch cost. It will include all of our travel and lodging and mileage and training and all the custom software development, because we have our software tools and they have a basic way they're designed, but we can customize and modify them to work better with your staff. And so that way, you already know going in what you're going to spend. There's not going to be any surprises. You're going to have your big upfront cost that it's going to take to launch, and then you have monthly options per store that you get to decide what level of support and community and engagement you get, afterwards. As part of that, I mentioned the initial assessment. That is $5,000. It's a flat fee. You pay it now, and we show up within a couple weeks and we do your assessment. We try to make that on site. And the same thing with that is that there are no extras on top. We won't charge you extra for hotels or mileage or travel or lodging. The $5,000 covers it all. You also get our Grocery L.I.F.T program, which is our online course. It's 70 lessons of like 11 different modules, and that's included. So you can see our entire playbook on what we do and why. And you can decide, we'll give you your assessment, we'll give you your quote, and for $5,000, you could just take and do it yourself. If you're like, I don't want to work with these guys, I'm not sure that we mesh well, or I don't want anyone messing with my stuff or training my staff, I got them just the way I like them, and I can just do this on my own, and I'm willing to experiment, and that's fine. You can totally do that. We're not going to stop you. You can take that course and be like, I'm going to run this like my own checkbook, and that's fine. You just won't have access to our tools. You won't be able to call yourself farm to you because you won't have the licensing and everything like that. But that's fine. So we want to give you value with the $5,000 because you're going to learn a lot, not just from the course, but also from our assessment. We'll give you an idea of what it would cost. So even if you do go on your own, you'll kind of have an idea. Oh, I'm going to be on the high end, or my store seems like it might be easy to do. Maybe I just do this on my own. And so once we give you your assessment, that $5,000, if you do decide to proceed, it goes towards your final program. So if you've got 3 stores and each one is $40,000, so $120,000 would be your total cost to do the Farm to You certification, training, launch, and everything. You would actually only have to pay $115 because you already paid the $5 up front. So we actually discount that off when you move forward with the full certification program. And once we do give you the assessment, you have about 3 months to decide whether you want to move forward. We will lock you into your territory exclusively. We're not, this whole time, once you pay the $5,000, we're not talking to your competitors or anyone across the street or anything in your market, because we want to give you that chance because you found us first and you watched this video and you made the decision to do the assessment and see if this is something that's for you. And so we will hold your place for 3 months after we provide you with the results of your assessment with your quote. That'll give you time to kind of get the money together, start to, let your stakeholders and your staff know that new changes are coming, and we will start prepping for you to begin. We're not going to nickel and dime you. When we give you a cost, whether it's a $5K up front, it's for the full assessment. You will get no other charges after that, and there's no obligation after that. And then you get to decide, we will give you the full amount, and you decide whether or not you want to move forward. And that is also an all-in cost. We don't stop until we get you launched and set up and ready to go, and we can put that Farm to You badge on your store, and we're confident that you can grow that very happy customer base that's ready to just hand you money week after week after week. What is the assessment? The assessment is just going to be us coming. We're going to look at your numbers. We're going to look at your systems, your people. It's 1 to 2 days. It's not invasive too much for you. We will sit down for a while. We usually rent a boardroom in a hotel or something nearby if you don't have one available in your store. And we'll sit down. We ask you a lot of questions. We want to get to know you. You can ask us as many questions as you can. And because at that time, once you pay that $5K, you'll have access to the course book, so you can start to go through it at your own pace and see, ask questions about what parts of it is. We can straighten it up because that helps us be more successful with launching your program if you decide to proceed, is by being very detailed. And so then we will look at your market and we will make projections on what we think we can do, how long it'll take for an ROI, what we think sales can be, how pissed off some customers are going to be, because people just hate change. And if you're a store that has a lot of customers who are what we call shoppers instead of customers, shoppers are people who just look around and they get the best deal for them. We don't consider those customers support a business. Shoppers shop around for them. And so some of your shoppers will get upset with some of the changes because some of your prices will be higher, but it'll also be more local products. And we'll show you how to make those stand out so that you sell more of those than you do the national brands, and people gravitate towards buying them, even your discount shoppers. So shoppers still are a part of your store. We're not kicking them out. We're just giving them a choice. And we really just want to see what the vibe of your store is. Do we think that you're ready to take Farm to You on? Do we think you're going to be easy to work with? Those are all very important things for us because we want you to be successful, but you have to let us do our jobs in order to make that happen. And so that meeting also is a way for us to get the vibe of the store and the vibe of you as the owner, and think, because we don't want the store to fail. We don't want the program to fail. We don't want to tarnish the Farm to You brand. We want people across the country to know what that means, and because we're all standing behind it as a group together. And so they know that means that local identity is fueling trust. Like that L.I.F.T is precise. We want local identity to fuel trust. And you have to trust us and we have to trust you so the customers will trust us. And that's very, very important. So your assessment, we're going to figure that all out. Okay, what's the timing like? For the assessment, we can usually get that done in 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how many we have. We kind of schedule a few of those at a time if we have a lot of people coming in, because it's only 1 or 2 days off site at your stores, and then it's back home and we do our other things. So we could be juggling a few of those at a time. Now, when it comes to actual grocery stores going through their full program, we only do 1 of those at a time. So when we get the go-ahead for the full program and we get paid and we start working on that contract and building your software and designing your systems around your store and work on training your staff, you're the only store we're doing that with. We may do other little assessments here or there if we can squeeze them in for the 1 or 2 days. But we won't be working on any other stores. And timing on those, it really depends on your schedule. If you're gung-ho and you're flexible and you work 7 days a week like we do, because like I said, I've been doing retail all my life, every day is a business day in the grocery business. And so we can hit the ground floor running. We work very fast. We probably work faster than most people you know that are in retail. When we open a farm to use store, the longest it's taken us is 4 weeks. We can go from lease signing to open with all permits and inspections and everything in 3 to 4 weeks. It's never taken us longer. We are very fast and good at what we do, and we're open. And so we kind of have that same mentality with this. So we will probably be moving faster than you. We're not going to push you to anything uncomfortable, but the odds of you wanting us to hurry and be sitting around thinking that we're sitting on our hands is not going to happen. We like to move because we know in this business, you got those tiny little margins and we need to make these changes quick, get everything in place, get everyone changed and flip that switch because we want those happy customers and we want them sooner rather than later. And so depending on how quick you are with getting things done, how complicated your systems are, if you have a store that's really locked down and we're not able to integrate with much or you don't want us to, we can do a bolt-on where you could just put Farm to You in there in 4 weeks. Like if you sold me your grocery store and I was like, you know, today you're the owner and tomorrow we're the owner, I would have Farm to You system running up in 3 to 4 weeks, maybe sooner. Really kind of depends on the staff and what systems are already there. But we would do it in a month or less. That's how quick we can work. And even with the custom software and everything, we really like to get results. On the longer end, if it takes a little time or we run into issues we're not used to, or there's, you know, obviously COVID happened, things are weird. The tariff things, like, you know, the economy's all over the place. Some people think it's great, some people don't. And that uncertainty affects you and me. We know that. And so as long as we don't run into anything weird, I can't imagine it taking more than 60 to 90 days before we can fully launch, even with multiple stores. Because like I said, you're the only ones we're focusing on. And as long as you are trusting us to do our job and you're cracking the whip on your people and your house is in order, ready to become a Farm to You outlet, there's not a lot to stop us from moving quickly. So yeah, unless we run into weird things that we've never seen before, then that just stop us in our tracks, which I can't think of what that would be. Even weird health, you know, permitting issues or anything, because we're not doing any construction. We don't do anything crazy. Like I said, this is mostly a people thing and a training thing and a systems thing. We don't have to redesign your entire store. That's not what we do. It can all happen as quickly or as slowly as you can. You know, let us move. Now, your other big burning question, other than the price, usually is, what if it doesn't work? What if you don't get the percentage increase in revenue or you don't get the happy customers? First off, that's really hard to do. The way that we do this, you should see a bump in margin. You might see a drop in sales, but that depends on your customer mix. If you've got a lot of price-sensitive customers, you may see a lot of pushback. And what we've seen in our stores is sometimes that pushback is permanent, and sometimes people go, hang on a second, maybe they talk to somebody else or they get more information later. We've had people be upset at changes we made and then come back later and be like, you know what, I thought about it. And you guys are the only one doing what you're doing. And if I want to support local or I want, quality groceries like this, I realize I have to make concessions too. And that's the part of the people and the training part that kind of sets us, in this other little group that's different than most people trying to pitch you and sell you something. On that account, like if we run into some weird thing where we're dealing with odd numbers or things that don't make sense to us, we're sticking with you. We're not going to be like, oh, it's been 90 days. Like, geez, Bob, sorry, man, it's just not going to work out. We don't do that. We've been doing this for years. We've been okay with losing hundreds of thousands of dollars to build that scar tissue so you didn't have to. So we're in it with you. So if we run into some weird situation where we're not seeing the numbers we want to see, we're not stopping. We're going to figure it out. Because number one, we're like data nerds. We love to figure this stuff out. That's our job. Like we went in trying to figure out how to help the farmers and we solved that problem and we made a system that works and that can scale. And so now we're doing the same thing with you. And so there's not a condition where as long as you're letting us do our job, then we're going to hit the goals that we think we reach. That's the importance of the $5,000 assessment, is that when we look into your store, we can find those little things that may jump out. And so we look at your customer mix. And so we'll kind of let you know in advance. We're not going to sit there and go, oh, you live in a lower income area is where your store is. And most of your customers are, on SNAP and lower income and disabled or seniors or whatever it is. And, oh yeah, we think we can get you 5% in a year. We're not going to say that because that doesn't make any sense. We're going to know going in, okay, we've got a big lower income. So maybe we take things a little slow. Maybe we only do drips of changes. We don't make big, huge sweeping changes. We don't do surcharges and weird things with the membership programs. And so we're not going, we don't see a situation where you're going to sit there and go, hey, you guys said we were going to get like 3 to 5% within like a year or so, and we're only getting like 1 or 2. We're not going to make those promises if we don't think we can attain them. And so, first off, we're going to be honest with the assessment about what we think we can do and how long it'll take to get to a benchmark. So going in, but also you've been doing this a while, I assume. So that you have lower income customers, and it's going to take some time to educate them and bump those margins up higher. So the revenue side, we don't know right away how that's going to work. One thing we're pretty confident in is that we can make happy customers, and we can at least bump up margin a little bit on lots of products pretty quickly and hit targets. The revenue always really depends on your customer mix and your market and where you are and where your prices are when we come in. Maybe your pricing is pretty good, but you want it a little better. And so we'll take that all into account when we do the assessment. We have very specific requirements for stores that we will work with. If you're not ticking all these boxes that I'm about to name off, so maybe you want to get a pen or you want to rewatch this part a few times, you're not going to be a fit for us. We have to be honest, because like I said, we want results. We want to help turn your store around. And it could be that maybe you're just not there yet. You're not quite ready. And if you think you're kind of marginal and you want to shoot for it, you can go ahead and fill out the form and we can have a quick chat. And you can let us know where you're deficient, and we can let you know if you can slide. Some of this stuff is non-negotiable, like having good, reliable internet access. You need that one. So number one, your store needs to have reliable, internet access, barring some crazy, floods or tornadoes or anything weird like that. Because our systems need the internet that interact with your customers live. And I imagine most of you probably already have that anyways. You're probably got modern point of sale systems that are doing credit cards and doing things anyways. So that's an easy one for most stores. You must be in the contiguous United States with your stores. So the mainland. That just makes it easier for us right now. We understand most, health codes, they work almost the same, even if the specific rules are different. The way you navigate and negotiate them and figure them out and find them is the same across the country. We left out Hawaii and Alaska on purpose just because of travel and the ruralness of it. If for some reason you're in like Juneau or in Hawaii and you're just really like think you need this and you're like, let us know, fill out the form, and your per store cost may be higher just because of all the travel, or we may have to actually like bill travel separately above your store cost. So if you're in like Hawaii or Alaska and you check all the other boxes and you're willing to take that extra hit on the travel cost, then go ahead and reach out. We can have a chat. And if we're, it's just a travel thing. We want to be able to make sure we can take care of everybody. So that's the main reason. All of your stores have to be within the contiguous United States. You also can't have another farm to you near you. If you're in a rural area and people are driving, 15, 20 miles to get to your store, and there's a farm to you store anywhere around there, you're already locked out. If you're in a bigger city, depending on the size of the city and the way it's laid out, we can look and see where you are in relation to a farm to you. Now, we're still kind of early days with this, so the odds of you jumping in here in 2026 and getting this done is very high. But we're pushing hard. We're going to contact a lot of grocers. And so the people that jump in first are the ones that are going to get their exclusive spots. So if you're in a place, with 1 million people in a decent sized city and the other farm to you is way across town, then we can look at your market and see if we can stick you in. But if you know for a fact there's a farm to you around you, then it ain't going to work. The other thing is that you need to be the primary decision maker, the final guy or gal that makes those decisions. That's who we need to talk to. Sitting here and having to educate, a store manager or someone who doesn't have that authority, and then them trying to sell it up, it uses too much of our time. If you are a storage manager or a VP or something like that, or director of operations of a few stores, you can just take this video and send it on up. And if that person wants to reach out, fill out the form, and we can have a conversation with them, then great, we will do that. But if you're not the primary decision maker, then we're going to have to wait to get in contact with that person before we can proceed, because that's super important to us, because this is not cookie cutter. It's not something simple. It's not just something you buy and put on a shelf. And it's not something that, a middle manager can just do on their own. And put in one store and it just doesn't affect the other stores. That's not how we work. You need to have about $50,000 per location available in your budget to make the upgrades. Like I said, this is not cookie cutter. We custom develop everything. We train everybody. So, that old thing where they used to tell you about the toothpaste when you squeeze it, once we go, and like I said, we move fast, that toothpaste has left the tube. So all the money gets paid up front, and we can't do refunds because we're giving you the name of the game and all the secrets and everything that we've learned. We're cutting out all the guessing and the trialing and the testing for you. And that starts the second that we get started. And so you need to have that money up front ready to go. Like I said, once we give you your assessment, you'll know exactly what those numbers are, and will lock you in for 3 months while you can get your ducks in a row, and then we can get started. Along those same lines, you got to have the 5K ready now. If you want to do the assessment, then we do that just by credit card or ACH. You get access really quick to the coursework, and we try to do a phone call with you real quick and schedule your on-site visits. We want to do that almost right away. We might do some of the market research remotely starting out, just to kind of get a feel for your geography and your competitors, and do market research, remotely. But we want to get to know you and get that assessment going for you. So that 5K, you spend that up front. So if this sounds like something, if you're the decision maker and these things are checking off your box and you're thinking this might be good for you and there's no farm to use around you, having that 5K, we're ready to go when you are. Also in timing, you need to be ready to go in 3 to 6 months. We know it's a big decision, but We can't be having a lot of conversations with maybes. There's a lot of information in this video. We post articles on LinkedIn. And then during your assessment, we answer lots of questions. And so if you don't think you want, happier customers, higher margins, and higher revenue, and make a few tweaks and changes and us come in and turn you into a farm to you store, don't reach out yet. You need to be ready to go in the next 3 to 6 months because we only work on one at a time. And so when we start talking to people and we get their assessments and we have serious conversations, we're locking them in and we're going to that place and we're launching. And so you need to be ready as well. That's why we say you have to have your investment ready to go up front. And then so your desire. We'll close with, the thing you need about you yourself as a grocer operator. You need to be ready to take on 1 to 5% top line lift. Like that's our goal, is to get your top line revenue up. Margins is easy, but you could see revenue go down, and you got to be able to handle the swings. You have to be willing to be aggressive on margin. Depending on your store, it could be all products, it could be some, it could be a few. We will figure that out during the assessment because we will give you a full overview of what it's going to take. But you can't be scared to raise your prices. If you're watching this and you're like, I want you guys to come in and fix my store, but you can't raise prices, we're not for you. You're still trying to beat Walmart's game. Don't play Walmart's game. We only want people who want to play the new game that Walmart can't play. You got to be willing to be honest with your customers, and it will piss some of them off and it'll make some of them really happy. We only want the happy ones. We all know that those price customers are not your best ones anyways, and because you're not making a lot of money on them. So you got to be really ready to be honest with your customers, and your staff has to be ready to be honest with them as well. And we will teach you all how to do this. You got to want recurring revenue. I'm not sure what grocer would not want recurring revenue. Maybe you've thought about it, maybe you haven't. Maybe you're like heard of it in software companies and things like that, but how does it apply to a grocery store? Trust me, it applies. It's the most amazing thing in the world. People will pay you for groceries before they come get them. It's like the Uno reverse version of you getting to pay your vendor invoices later. So you get 30-day or 15-day terms on your grocery deliveries from your distributors. This is the Uno reverse of that. You get people to pay you. The money is in your bank account and they still haven't taken groceries from your store. It's amazing, and you should want that. So if you don't want that, don't call me. Don't fill it out. It ain't going to work, because that is something we are definitely going to do for your store, is build recurring revenue, and we want to try to build a lot of it. You got to be willing to want your customer data. If you're a privacy guy and you're like, oh, I don't want to give people my stuff. If you're looking at our form and like, oh, I don't want to give you my stuff, this may not work for you, because you're going to have to do that to your customers. And some of them will get mad. Some of them will not want to give you their information or know who they are, but that's okay. Those are not your customers. Those are your shoppers. We don't want shoppers. We want customers. And so you got to want to get customer data. We figured out the script. We know how to talk to people. We know how to explain it. Like I said, we've been doing this, so we are very good at training your people how to get your customers to be on board with this. And the ones that are not, they can go play the Walmart game. And finally, this one should be totally obvious. You have to want to be different. If you want to go with the crowd and do what other people are doing, and you read this article that said to do this, and customer value means price, follow that information, please. We are not for you. You've got to want to be different. You got to stand and hold your head up high. Your friends or other grocers may say all kinds of stuff about you. They may say you're all screwed up in the head, that you're going to fail, and this is going to suck, and that's okay. Let them think it. You will sit there and have the happy customers with higher revenue and more margin, and just farmers walking into your store left and right wanting to put their stuff on your shelf because you became the magnet for locality and the customers know it. Your value proposition will be higher than theirs, and that's what you're getting. So if you're not willing to be that lone person standing in your town going, we're doing things different because it matters around here. This is my community. I live here. Our store is here. Our staff is from here. We want the food to be from here, and we want the people around here to benefit. And so if you're too afraid to to say that out loud and be bold, then this is not going to work for you, because you're not going to do like half or most of the things that we say. If this energized you, that's a good sign. You should probably fill out this form. Like I said, if there's a few things where you're kind of a little off, maybe you need more info, some people just need more info than others, then go ahead and fill it out. We will have a quick phone call, and because we want to, if this just doesn't register with you or qualify, or we don't think it will be a good fit, we want to hurry up and get that information to you so we can move on to the next farm to you candidate. If this scares you, that's also data. Maybe you're hearing things in here that sound a little wild or a little crazy, and you need to look into a few things. Don't reach out yet. You're not ready. But that's okay. You're still learning. There's lots of information out there. Be careful what you look at. You know, the good thing with us is we are retailers. There is a photo of my great-great-great-great-grandfather in our grocery stores, in front of his grocery store in Fort Smith, Arkansas in the 1800s. And we have a thing there that says, you know, 120 years of groceries. So the difference between a lot of the people that are going to try to sell you stuff and them is that I've been there. I know it. I've opened, I've closed, I've laid off, I've hired, I've had the fun, I've had the scaries, the late night worries. I'm there. I know you. I am you. And so if this is resonating, then great. And if it's not, you have a few things you can look up. Maybe just paying for the assessment is worth it to you. And if you want to do that, go ahead, fill out the form, tell me, be like, I don't think this is for me, but I still want the little tidbits here and there. I want the online grocery L.I.F.T course, and I want you to at least tell me what it would involve, and I'm willing to spend the $5K to do that. Then you can do that. But I want you to really think about that, because we're really going to push you to do it. If we do your assessment and we think you're a fit, you should be open to that idea. But go do your research, look around. I don't know about talking to experts and friends, because like I said, a lot of the things we do, I don't see any grocery stores doing it. And I think that's what's hurting a lot of independent grocers. Yeah, we could try to get the government to enforce the Robinson-Patman Act, and then we could all pay the same price for groceries. But do any of y'all actually think that's going to happen anytime soon? I don't. I can't trust them to do most of anything. You got to work for yourself, and you got to decide if you want to just jump into that pool with both feet. If you think this is for you, then you just fill out that form that you want to get verified that we can do the assessment for you, so we can make sure there's no farm to you near you, ask you a few qualifying questions. Some of the questions are in the form. And then if we feel like you have potential, which is not a high bar to reach, then we can get you started with the 5K assessment. Now we do put in there about, your store's revenue. So I will say here towards the end, if you're still listening to this, and your store is in that 3.5, 4, 5, 6 million a year range, this is going to be a high pick for you, because you're going to be spending more than your typical margins in grocery to pay for this. I'm not saying it's not going to work. We're just targeting people that we know usually have that free cash flow available. If you've been saving up and you feel like this is really for you, then let's set up a phone call and you can convince me, because we want it to work for you. We may put the caveat in there that it may take a little longer depending on what your foot traffic is like, because the more people you have, the easier this is. And so usually those smaller stores, once you get down 5 million and below, maybe you don't have the cash flow. Now, if you've been saving up and this is a big investment you want to make, then we can have that conversation and be realistic with you about it, as long as you just know that going in. That's it. No pressure. This video was full of information. You get to know me a little bit and our background and what we came through to get here, that we're not a salesman, we're not a guru. We just want you to have a store where people are so happy to be in there, both your staff and your customers, and get them to love what you do, and be actually truly happy to hand you money. Like, they want to show up and do that. You become a destination. You become value to them. It's not just a grocery transaction. We do that in all of our staff training. Probably once a month when I meet with our staff, I remind them, remember, the customer experience is the most important part, and the groceries are just there along for the ride. And so if you want us to help build your store like that, then we can look and see about getting your store to be a certified farm to you outlet. Thank you, and I hope to talk to you soon.